All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Mascoma Valley Regional School Board meeting for the evening. First off, we have a public hearing. Public hearing on the proposed donations from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the EVS pre-K play space in the amount of $42,000, as well as another grant from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation, the donation from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for $10,000 for the Title I Math Morning. Pursuant to RSA 198-20-B, the hearing begins now and will be followed immediately by the school board meeting. So we'll go ahead and open this public hearing. And any comments from the board? Any questions? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the public? All right. That being the case, we'll close this public hearing at 6:04. And we'll call the school board meeting to order for our public session, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First up, we have approval of minutes, public and non-public, from our meeting on January 25th, and I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from Tuesday, January 25th, public and non-public.
All right, Kathleen.
Second.
And Danielle seconds. Any comments, questions, corrections?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, page 4,
All right.
under the business administrator's report, line 36 through 38, it was not a unanimous vote on that. I
Okay.
abstained.
That's right. You abstained, right?
Yeah.
Yep, 601. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that just one more time for me, Kathleen, because you seem to have the page and numbers down?
Page 4.
Page 4.
Under business administrator report, down to line 36 through 38.
Yes.
The motion, I'm referring to that, the vote was 601.
Thank you.
I abstained.
I do remember that. Thank you.
All
I
right.
heard abstained, I was looking down and typing, and then I heard okay. And I didn't hear anybody say anything, so I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, it was kind of quiet.
All right. Anything else on the minutes? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes, public and non-public, of January 25th, signify by saying aye. All opposed? And abstentions. All right. Off we go. All right. Public comment. Good evening. Any public comment tonight?
Just waiting on that legislative update.
Oh, you mean the one from on school funding, or just about legislative in general?
Cooperative school district.
Oh, yeah. All right. Seeing none, we have a presentation tonight. Senior service projects. We have Angel for that, or?
She should be joining us by Zoom.
Awesome. Hello, Angel.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good evening. The floor is yours.
All right. I have a PowerPoint, if we can put that up.
Do you have it, Kamala?
I don't know. No. Hang on. I'll find it. Angel, is it in the packet, do you think?
It is in the packet, yes. It's 2 slides, so I can talk without it.
Oh, right, yes.
All right. Should I go ahead? And I don't think, can you guys see me when I, oh, there it is. Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Great. So at EIC, we talked a little bit about the idea of senior projects or senior service projects. And so we started talking through some of the options and some of the considerations. Next slide, please.
Very touchy. There.
So there are a couple different ways that you can do this, and probably the three most prevalent throughout the state are some type of senior seminar class, and you could run that as either an elective or something that is required for graduation. Every senior would take it. You can run a senior service project that is required for graduation, and some schools do this and provide different levels of support for students as needed to help them through the process of doing the project. Depends on how big the project is. And then another option is to do some type of tiered diploma, possibly a diploma of distinction, where students either take that senior seminar class or complete the senior service project and receive a different type of diploma that shows that designation on there. So those were the three options that we just started talking about. And we brainstormed a little bit, but we didn't come up with any others that we thought were outside of that mold. Anybody have any questions about those options?
No, I think good to go.
Okay, next slide. So we talked a little bit about some of the considerations to put in a class or a project. The first is obviously amending graduation requirements. The second would be staffing needs, if this was a class required for graduation, or if it was some type of project with supports, what would the staffing needs be for that? The curriculum that would be covered if it were a class, how we would update the program of studies to include this information, the capacity for change at the high school, and then the timeline and planning to make this happen. So after talking through all those different considerations, we felt like a really nice approach would be to pilot something. And so for the upcoming school year, we have an elective class added to the program of studies, which is a senior seminar class. It's going to be team taught by at least one guidance counselor, and then we're not quite sure who else, depends on scheduling. And we're going to start working on the curriculum for that. Any questions on that plan?
Go ahead, Danielle.
Hi, Angel. I'm wondering if, I think I might have asked this last time to our group, if the projects were something that students would do individually with oversight and kind of accountability through the senior seminar elective, or if they would be small group projects or whole class projects.
That really is up to how we decide to structure it. We had talked through that a little bit, and as far as this senior seminar class that we're going to run as a pilot, we're thinking that we would have two options. One for students to do the project on their own, and the other option for them to do it with one or two other students. And we would develop rubrics so that there was a clear designation of work, so that it wasn't, how sometimes group projects, one student can take the lead and maybe the work isn't balanced out. So that was a consideration that we talked about.
Okay, great. The other thing that I've seen some schools do, I can't remember off the top of my head which ones, but I've seen some where there has been additional recognition at graduation for students completing, especially if it's an elective and not a requirement, to get an extra cord at graduation as a way of recognizing the additional efforts that have been accomplished for that student. So that's something else I just wanted to mention.
Great. Yeah, we will put that in our notes to talk about. I think that kind of goes along with the idea of a diploma of distinction, if that was an option that we wanted to look at, or indicating something on their transcript as well is another way that some schools do it.
Yeah, great.
Any other questions?
So I'm assuming that the seminar class and the service project options are pretty much the same. except one is more for the pilot program is going to be more structured. Is that-
So yeah, the pilot program, the senior seminar class that we are going to run is going to take some of those things that were in Mascoma 101 and bring those kind of up to date for a senior. That the target audience for that class was freshmen. So thinking about some of those life skill, life planning, career and college type planning pieces that you get from your guidance counselor, but this would be a more in-depth dive. So there will be a curriculum that they are covering and talking about, and different, reading assignments and things like that that go along with actually doing the project.
I have a question. So when they do something like a diploma of distinction, is that like, someone who has completed like so many service hours, like I don't know how is it structured for a diploma of distinction, or like honor cords or something like that?
So typically for that, you would designate whatever your criteria is. Sometimes it's a certain GPA in conjunction with the community service hours or in conjunction with completing this type of project. And then you would designate that by an honor cord and either something on their transcript or a different type, almost like a tiered diploma system. So that's if you feel like this is something that not every student would be able to attain and would necessarily benefit them. And some districts have done that, the diploma of distinction, with the thought that that's how they would pilot it. And then eventually, once more and more students had done that, they would phase out the diploma of distinction and create a requirement for every student to graduate to have that senior service project.
Is that the end game?
Yeah,
To get
well,
all kids involved in some sort of community service
I mean,
project?
I would definitely
Yeah.
be happy to see something like that. I think it's something that we heard through our strategic planning process when we had our community forums. There was a lot of feedback about wanting to see our students in the community helping out, and also thinking about different ways of learning, especially those that included an experiential component. So I think that something like this is in line with that sort of thinking and feedback that we received.
With our population here, do you see barriers to making this a requirement? I asked for, not everyone has a car, not everyone has a parent that is involved. So just thinking of whatever the requirement becomes towards this project, we make it attainable for all students so that we're not creating barriers for them senior year.
I think that's very fair, Candace. And this is going to need some thought before it totally becomes a requirement. Do I think it's very good for the community? Absolutely. Am I a little bit hesitant when it comes to making levels of diplomas? Absolutely. So I think that would be really something that we would need to really discuss, think about, and plan for. I believe, if I'm correct, there had been layers of diplomas or levels of diplomas previously, and it was a problem. It was a problem. Thank you, Tim. It was almost unfair, and you had kids, it was just, so if we were thinking of going that way, we would really need to make sure we were upfront with the public. They knew, they understood, these are the parameters, here it is, there's no wiggle room, you can't have distinction if you don't meet these requirements, type of a deal. So I think there's a lot to think about in looking at the different levels of diplomas. There's a lot to think about in making this a requirement, but I think having it as an option is an excellent start.
absolutely.
I'd say the other piece about making sure that it is accessible for all students is thinking about how the project is structured. So lots of schools went away from just requiring 20 hours of community service on, every single student needs to do that, or 40 hours or whatever the requirement was, because they found that that wasn't as valuable. And so that's why having the project piece in there, but then making sure that the projects have different options. So typically there's maybe an academic research type of project. There's usually a creative project where you're creating a play or you're creating some type of music. Then there's a more traditional community service type of project that might involve having a car or transportation. There might be things where you're volunteering at the elementary schools or lots of different options. So at the last slide, I have linked the resources from different schools that I've worked at, and then Merrimack Valley is where my son went to school. And so I do have all their resources as well. So that's part of what we plan on doing, is going through those pieces and looking and seeing what pieces would work for us.
You might, Angel, do you mind sharing with everybody, you shared with us at EIC what your son did for his senior project? And
Sure.
what he got out of it.
Yeah, so my son went to the Concord Regional Vocational Center and did the automotive program, and that was something he was really passionate about. And so for his senior project, what he did is restored his grandfather's car. And it was something that he really wanted to do. He worked with his father on it. And then they have a big senior showcase night. And so he was out front with his car. He had learned to do some body work and some transmission work, and I'm not quite sure what else, but he was really proud of it and got the car up and running. And so that was out there, and he did his presentation talking about what he had done for the car.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. That was such a cool story. So I mean, it really illustrates like how wide open this kind of project is, and it's really malleable and flexible to whatever the kids' interests are or whatever they like, their passions are. And also it gives them, what I like about having something like this is it gives them those executive function skills on like, how do you organize a project? Like, let's say you want to have a fundraiser to do whatever, like, how do you organize a fundraiser? Okay, that's logistics. What do you do? You know, so it's not just about like the community. So I can see why they move away from just hours where you just go and like check in at the vet clinic and help with animals, or
Exactly.
like planning a fundraiser for animals or whatever. So cool. All right.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
add
go ahead.
that under the considerations, I was anticipating that there would be a more structure to the planning of the project before it's implemented. And that would cover like the logistics that you just outlined, but it's a big part of life is what we're trying to teach, is that if you don't plan, you know, you're going to fail. So I think any barrier that comes up, there's a way for that student to brainstorm and try to find a solution to that barrier.
I just thought of one last question. Angel, do you think that this, for the, at least for the pilot year, for the senior seminar elective, is that anticipated to be just a one semester course, or would that be for the full year, or the option for a full year?
It is a semester course. One of the things that the high school did when they worked on their program of studies review is they took some courses and made them semester courses. And they did that really purposefully so that students, especially for electives, would have more options. And so I think when you're a senior and maybe your schedule is pretty full with classes either you need for required graduation or AP classes or you know, anything that makes a senior schedule full, a semester is a nice option for them.
Totally. Anything else for Angela? Any other questions? Okay, cool. Might as well open up public comment. Any questions, Daniel, or anything? All right. Anybody out there in Zoom land raising their hand or anything? I don't think so. All right.
Nope.
All right, so I don't think you need any approval or anything from us, right? I think they're just gonna go for it, so that's great. So yeah, all right, well, thank you, Angel. We look forward to hearing about that, the elective course that they're gonna do, and see how that develops.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks.
all right, we'll come back to this in a few months and stuff, so, cool, all right. Continuing business, finance and facilities. You all have your minutes, there you go, there, that's Bruce's update. Oh, looks like you're it.
Basically, Corrado gave his report. and was dealing with the heating issues that they were having because of our extreme temperatures. And was really kind of in the middle of sorting through that stuff and fixing, making sure they're working with Johnson Controls to address the issues. He was also working on a sub list because they're like everybody else with absences, and trying to get the plans for the break coming up this week in terms of project and maintenance. We bantered a little bit about the solar energy. Brewster was asking about where we were on that, and I think Corrado basically said, not now, with too much going on, but hopefully we will kind of wrap our heads around that a little bit more down the path. Cookie was not here. She was going to check up on the Route 4 update. They had emailed Chris Turgeon, the state, but we hadn't gotten back. And Amanda reported to Rob. There were no changes on the CIP, and the final audit has been done, and the budget is done. So everything is looking pretty good there. Cafe services, there were no concerns, and we're going to be, I guess we're waiting for a quarterly update. Butler bus, there was a driver down issue, and I guess it says they were asked to attend the next school board meeting, but obviously they're not going to be here, so.
Oh, they're not gonna be here tonight?
They're both unable to attend. Connor was scheduled to come. We had a game moved from yesterday to today.
Okay. We can have them on next time.
That's it.
All right. Any questions? Oh.
I think that there's some sort of solar project conversation, I think, happening in Enfield.
Yes,
Yeah,
next, is it Tuesday? Yes.
something like that.
Yeah, that's about the community power plant for Enfield. I'm going to go.
Okay, great.
Cool. All right. Up next, we did not have communications committee last week because of the weather, so we bumped it to this week. Superintendent's report.
So you do have version 2 of my superintendent's report in your packet. I wrote version 1, and as is true, every single time I write it, it changes. So I did go through and strike out some of the things that have drastically changed and add in more. So you'll see that I had said that we'll still continue to send home letters as they're informative to parents. However, the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services has now said that they do not want us to report, schools to report in daily. So instead they're having schools report in weekly numbers, where they've also told schools to stop contact tracing. However, that gets a little bit muddied, if you will, because their advice also says that we should still be letting people know if they have been in contact with someone. So we'll still be sending home the letters of contact to cohorts and other classrooms. Not that anybody reads those. I personally get like 5 a day. I'm not sure how many other people here with kids in the district get, but it's just what it is. I'm assuming if my kids are anywhere in the world, or if I'm anywhere in the world, we're potentially exposed to COVID. Just so you know there. I've also included a link there. They removed their back to school toolkit and replaced it with a 3-page document. So that link will take you right to that 3-page document, and you can look at it. It pretty much is what we're already doing, with the exception of taking away the reporting daily. They're there to help us if we call for help. They're happy to come in and help us, but they're just not able to keep up. It's just not a good resource of my nurses' time to call in with names, dates of birth, addresses. So this will really be a bonus for our nurses. Instead, we just will report a number. So what I would like to do from the SAU is to move to a reporting system where we keep a live updated spreadsheet or chart on the website. Congratulations, Camera Live, welcome to the news. Which just will update weekly the numbers in each school. Because that's where that means my nurses don't have to call in every day with their numbers too. So it just simplifies it a little bit more, keeps us in line with what DHHS is also saying. So that's where I would like to head with that. And then we'll still let parents know what the, if your child was potentially exposed in the classroom. I think that's the safest way to do it, or on the bus, or whatever cohort they may choose to be. Yep, and then we do have February break next week. And, just in spite of COVID, we continue to move forward with some academic things. You've just seen some of the great things that Angel's able to keep going with curriculum. We just keep forging forward because education can't stop because of the pandemic. So it's baby steps, and I know some people are tired, and sometimes it seems like a lot, but we do need to keep forging on because eventually, the pandemic will end. Eventually.
Anything else?
Do you see anything, you had mentioned the summer learning experiences. Do you see anything different this year because of COVID? Are you adding things, or are you?
So we really had the project-based learning that Angel provided last year was excellent, well received by both teachers and students. So the one change that I think we will see is an increased number of students that will want to participate in those programs. So I'm pretty excited about that. We have the Crystal Smith, who is our intervention coordinator, if you will. She's been doing a lot of tracking of data with students, so we're able to implement some really strong interventions for kids during the school year, but we'll be really using that data for the invitations for those students that may have slid behind a little bit to work with our project-based learning this summer, and then if we have other slots, open those up to other students as well. But I really expect a tremendous growth in that program.
Cool. Any other comments, questions for Amanda? All right, so we are going to have an update on the website, so people will be able to go there every week.
Yeah, they can go anytime they want. They'll update it on Fridays.
And that's not to preclude that if all of a sudden the school nurse sees 6 kids in one classroom within, we'll change course, and obviously we're very fluid and flexible. So.
And that's pretty similar to what some of the other districts are doing. I think I can't remember if it's Claremont or Newport, but they just have a link on their website to a Google spreadsheet that they update regularly that's publicly viewable.
And most schools have chosen to go that way. We were one of the few districts that continued with the daily letters. And I think it's just time. Parents, I'm not sure anyone's reading it anymore.
You just see the letter and you're like, okay, how many?
And that's not right, and that's not what we want. I don't want people to become tone deaf to my material.
Right.
So, knowing that will no longer be going out at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, hopefully, we'll keep people paying attention to emails that do get sent out.
On your note of new things that are being launched in the middle of the pandemic, I wanted to just say that at IRS, big hats off to Teresa Westgate because she's getting the National Junior Honor Society going.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they're getting open for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They're doing the whole application process right now. So that's out of, that came out of nowhere. So that's awesome. And that really expands on that culture of academics and things like that we had been talking about earlier in the fall. So there we go. Cool. All right. Thank you, Amanda. Business Administrator's Report. Robert, you're up.
Good evening. You have my written report in your packet. We did complete the audit as previously mentioned, and Roberge gave us the final version. We've uploaded that to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse where they've been submitted and accepted. We also had the deliberative session this past weekend. We got through all the warrant articles there as well. Now that the budget is done and the deliberative session is over, Angel and I are working on some grant organization where we're going to make sure that we utilize as many federal funds, especially the ESSER grants. There's still a little bit of funding left for PPE and sanitation, those kind of things. So we want to make sure that we take advantage as much as possible. You have the financial reports as of January 31st in your packet as well, and that's all I have.
Cool.
I'm sorry, Tim, but I am going to need to go back. I'm reminded that Mr. Brown did want to talk a little bit more, so he'll be coming from the gym.
Okay.
He was at I was going to use some of my superintendent's report time
Oh, okay.
for that, so he is in here. So if we could go back to
Oh,
that
yeah.
at some point, I just let him know we were ready for him.
Yeah, whenever,
He's
yeah.
on duty
whenever
in the gym right now, so.
Okay. That sounds fine. All right, anything else, Rob?
That's it.
Do that, Rob? Okay, cool, all right. Any questions?
The only question I had is, I noticed that I forget if it's Interact or National Honor Society is doing some sort of fundraiser right now, and it says that they're trying to get N95s for staff
Oh, yeah.
and students.
saw that,
And that I always wondered why, if we are purchasing those, that they need them for the staff, unless they're really gonna be focusing on giving them to students that want them and don't have access to them?
So I think that whole project for the kids started before they were readily available
Okay.
for us, so we'll be happy to talk to them, but I think they really wanted to get things out and
Yeah.
moving, and we were able to purchase some. They were gonna supplement us with
Okay.
more. However, the state Department of Ed, how many did you order, Rob?
Oh, couple hundred, like case for each school. So the Department of Health and Human Services also, every once in a while, will have a campaign where
Yep.
schools can sign up and get surplus for your district, but we don't always know when that's gonna
Sure.
happen. So we take advantage of anything we can get for
Yep.
PPE and N95 masks. So,
Okay.
So how many were in each box, like 400 or 500?
yeah.
There were a lot, so we did find,
420 in each
we
case.
dropped off a case and we said, give these to kids
Yeah.
and to parents. I don't see any peppered around here,
Yeah,
so we'll have to remind the schools, those are also for students to be able to use.
yeah,
And there is a shelf life of about a week on those, so if we do need more, I think,
yeah,
if they could share, maybe we might have an in where we could let them know where to buy some. So-
right, yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, if they're doing fundraising to help supplement what the school is able to do, if they can use the funds that they raise and leverage the wholesale pricing that
Yes.
might be through the school as opposed to retail, that would be great, or if it's not a need, maybe they can redirect it towards another sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which, I don't have anyone in NHS or Interact or whatever group it is that's doing it, but it just,
I appreciate
Ping
that,
me.
you're right.
Oh, that's my daughter, I know
Okay.
she's involved with it somehow, whichever group it is.
yeah. They kind of blend together sometimes
They
in
do
my
blend
head,
together.
so, because there's
I-
some kid overlap.
I will also say, if you can get KF94s, which are the other kinds, those are better for smaller faces. So like, they might be, the little kids might like them better. They might- KF, yeah, they're typically like South Korean style, I guess, that's where they came from, so.
Okay.
Just like I found them, my kids enjoy them, they have smaller faces than me, so, All right, Rodney, take it away.
Hello. Well, good to see everybody. Just wanted to update on a few things. First one is winter sports. We are in the final week of the regular season for basketball, for indoor track, I believe, at least a week or two, and then also wrestling. It's been a pretty exciting winter, to say the least. We have been very competitive on all playing surfaces. It looks like our boys are postseason bound for basketball. Wrestling has a really good shot at the state tournament coming up here in Bow a week from Saturday. Some potential high seeds and potential some names on some banners, fingers crossed. And our girls are fighting for a playoff spot. So we're very competitive. Our indoor track team, wanted to update you on the indoor track team as well. They have been to Phillips Exeter twice since our last time we spoke about indoor track, and also they were over at USM over Christmas break. We had some great finishes. We had a champion at USM, Opal Schindlinger. She took first in the girls' shot put and has been undefeated all winter so far. So very exciting for all sports. Going forward, just wanted to update you that we are gearing up for the state tournament and what that would look like. The plan is to, when it comes to going through the tournament, is kind of follow what the state's been doing. Our plan is to be mask optional for postseason play. Give the families, and the kids the opportunity to wear masks while still competing or not. When it comes to the fans and everybody that comes into the building, they will still wear those. Officials as well will be wearing those as well. It's just that time when people are actively competing, they will be optional. As for the landscape of how things are, we have a very, very good shot. I'm really excited about the next couple weeks here. And I'm not sure if you'd like to have any conversation or anything in there, or if you'd like me to go to my next item.
Can I ask?
Sure, questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
One question I'm sure that is bound to come up is whether or not the spectator limits, in particular the student section,
Correct.
would be modified for a potential home playoff game.
What's been great, Danielle, is our ticket system took some getting used to. And our student athletes and our families and everything got really creative. We almost have like a ticket exchange going on right now. And any unused tickets have been used. Like I know our ticket table is run by student athletes, and they actually have tickets there that are unused. And if a student athlete wants to come in and wear those, use those, they do. Like by the end of we'll start with 10 of them, and all 10 of them will be used by the time that is. So I don't know if we'll be able to, I don't think we're gonna be able to, it's not looking like we're gonna turn people away. It seems like everybody that's wanted to be there has been there so far. And I'm not sure how the ticketing system's gonna be when it comes to the state tournament.
Because
There is a gate most of the time, especially
Right.
for basketball too.
Right.
So that might also change things up here in the next couple of weeks.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know that, and we've donated tickets into the pot when we haven't had the older siblings around to come and watch. I will say on the side of players that are playing in those games, it can be difficult because your player is begging you to keep all extra tickets so that they could have students there, because they really care about having students there, because we all know that having a good student section is like that's like a plus on any sort of competitive game. So it is, I have heard from some families that feel that they are really put in a bind because they might have another grandparent that might want to come, or another family member or friend that might want to come, but really their player wants to capture that ticket so that they can have a loud student there instead. And so that's why I bring it up as a request
So
from players.
would the board be amenable to us allowing a student section by lottery or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, if you
We
come
put
up with
a
a
cap
number.
on it.
Even like 20 or 25,
20.
I don't think would be
Because
much
you are correct, there will be a lot
Yeah.
more family members if we have a home
Yeah.
section, and many schools are not putting any limits on spectators.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put our kids also at a disadvantage of missing that student section, because it is important.
Yeah.
Changes the game.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, we'd like to bolster the student sections, right?
Yeah, and knowing that the girls and boys will play on different nights, if the girls do make the playoffs, then they're likely all gonna wanna come to the game.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of them are, so that's just something that I know that has come up in conversations and thinking about the playoff season, so I wanted to raise it when we have the opportunity.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
You had another part you said? or-
Yeah, so esports, and
Oh, yes.
I see Craig behind me here, person on my shoulder here. But we're very excited about esports. As Craig has said many times, there's definitely some great interest and momentum going forward. We have some meetings here starting this week, and hoping to get the ball rolling on things. I did share with you in your packet, our esports registration and we're hoping to get that kicked off as soon as tomorrow, because we do have an informational meeting, to get people signed up, get them interested, and get them officially going here. As you can see, and I did do some research, I did reach out to a few schools that have esports programs, St. Thomas being one of them, that says they go status quo and they use their athletic. They use everything that we have here, including physicals and impact tests. They said it's just good to keep it consistent, and I feel that it's a good way to go.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Any questions on that? No, I'm excited to hear how that goes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Great.
Anything else, Rodney?
That's it.
All
Thank
right,
you for your
cool.
time.
Well, best of luck. And I don't know if you've had anything to do with this, but I've noticed a lot of our student athletes in the Valley News.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of good coverage. There's a good story the other day. I know there's just good pictures and all sorts of stuff getting the word out there. So it's always good to see.
We always welcome that. but
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
All right. So next up here, we got public comment response update. Anything of note, Amanda?
Nope.
All righty. And deliberative session discussion. So it's just an open discussion. How did everyone think it went? Thought it was
Short
pretty-
and sweet.
Short and
Yeah,
sweet,
pretty-
pretty uneventful.
Pretty mild.
Well,
Yep, just the way we like
the way I
it.
like it.
I mean, I do think, there was a valid question in the budget about special education and the capital reserve fund for that. I thought that was a very valid question, and we do have, every intent on using some of that money. It's, just today I was notified we have another student moving in, from a district, pretty high needs special ed student. So, we do need that money. Those move-ins do happen. We anticipate getting that kid in the next couple weeks. And it will, have a cost to the district, special ed wise. So those moves happen. So we do need to be prepared with that little bit of a cushion in order to accommodate for these move-ins.
I thought your comment about how it needs to be about 500,000 is more accurate than what we had always kind of thought, like 300,000 was the
Yeah.
max, because that's what had always been, batted around. But now the state is dictating where the kid has to go and how much that's gonna be, right?
And they've also leveled it off.
And they-
So it's pretty much whichever out-of-district placement you pick within the state
Uh-huh.
rounds out to about $500,000.
Geez,
So it's cheaper for us now to send students out of state.
that is ridiculous.
So, because we do have a few students that go out of state, and the cost is quite less because there aren't those mandates. I imagine that those mandates may change in the next 6 or 8 years, so.
I hope so.
But for right now, that's the cost we need to anticipate for
Yeah.
a residential placement for a student.
Well, I'm glad we're able to buffer those at the end of the year when we need it.
Right.
With more flexibility, because it looks like we have to have that sitting there just in case.
I have one thought about the motion to reconsideration.
Yes.
Does it have to be done after every single?
No.
Because I think at one point, it almost seems if we bundle it, maybe,
Yeah.
because that gives people a little bit more time to think. I think there was one where we did 2 at once.
Yeah.
And that just felt a little more comfortable to me. I don't know
Sure.
why. Just didn't seem like we were trying, just get it over with. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I think that comes from being burned, or seeing other districts get burned in the past,
Yeah.
of like someone dragging out a deliberative session and then changing something at the end.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not saying not do it. I'm saying
Oh, yeah, just kind of bundle
just
them
maybe
together.
every other one, it's just a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just
Yeah, we
seemed, I liked it when you did 2 at once.
That's probably
I
moving
think
so
it-
fast.
I think it also kind of depends on the article, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What you wouldn't want to leave is a highly contentious article open,
Right.
like for the
Yeah.
entire meeting, so
Right.
that, somebody walking in,
Like the
after the
budget.
rest of us
Yes.
have, been there and contributed, have
Right.
someone walk in and start something up again. So I
Right.
think that's the whole purpose of it, but yes, bundling, we could have bundled all the warrant,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, cover it.
capital reserve
Yeah.
fund warrant.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, even like ones,
Yeah.
or something, but yeah.
You just get in the habit of doing it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Gets
It's
away. and I
Brewster's
don't want-
job,
I
he
don't want
takes
to
it
hear
very
Bruce
seriously,
telling me that I didn't do it either.
right? We didn't want him to criticize Tim.
I would have heard him in the back of my head.
Yeah, you would.
That's all right. Yeah, no, well, that's a good point. It's just, we just want to make sure that we don't get burned, so. All right, what
And
do
it
we got?
was, and it was nice, there was, nice words about paraprofessionals.
Yep.
Yes,
And support staff in the district, so that was nice to hear.
it was very nice.
It was very nice to have people stand up in support of that.
Yeah.
It was very good to hear, so. Cool. Anything else on Deliberative? All right, so election is March 8th for everything else on there. All right, and you said Butler's will be delayed till next time?
Well, I
Well,
can't
hopefully.
even guarantee they wouldn't be able to come until the end of March.
Okay.
So if you all wanted to have like a brainstorm topic type of thing that,
We could talk about?
specific things that Rob could discuss with Butlers, that would be fine.
No.
So if you have any specific questions or anything like that, throw them out and we will be happy to get them to Butlers.
Okay. Well, I'll kick it off. What's up with all the late buses when it's cold? I get it that they don't start, but I guess my question is really like, what prompted me to ask for them to come on the agenda was because we had, I think, one morning, so you're a parent, you get these
Yeah.
emails. I don't know that you might not get these emails, but basically in the morning, one of the administrative assistants from the schools will be like, oh, this bus is this many minutes late, this bus is this many minutes late, and there was a day where it was like one bus was 2 hours late, another bus was 45 minutes late, and
Yeah.
it was just like.
It was that cold morning, like, and there was more than one message, because
Yeah.
it came out first and said, these ones are gonna be an hour, and then there was like, oh, no, actually, there's two of them that are gonna be 2 hours late or
Right.
something.
And I guess my question is, how many of the buses have plug-in lock warmers? This is New Hampshire, it's not uncommon to have 20 below zero. And that's what happened, and I hate to think that there's some kid waiting out for the bus, and it's 10 below zero, and there's no bus.
Do we have a point when we don't let the kids wait out for the bus? If it's too cold?
Yeah, I don't think we do. Like, we don't have we have called like some mornings in the past.
Sometimes we will call a delay, like if it's, 30, 40, 50 below with the wind chill. But I also talked to Butler Bus and say, are you gonna be able to have your buses start on time? And I was told, yes, we should be fine, on that day, so we rolled with,
Yeah.
and you saw very few schools pull a delay on those days. Many of the bus drivers are very good and will tell kids when it's gonna be that cold to stay in the house, and they'll hit the horn and wait for kids to come out, which I
That's
think
good.
is fair.
That's good.
But I would agree, Tim, that one day was absolutely ridiculous. It was this bus and then this bus and then this bus. So I have asked them to do some other preventative measures in order to help sustain, not to work into that again. And it's continually the same 3 buses, which is very concerning to me, which tells me it's probably a mechanical issue.
Yeah,
Because if I have every Enfield bus, let's say, runs fine,
yeah,
most of my Grafton buses are running fine,
yeah,
but it's 17, 12,
and one,
9, 1.
yeah,
So to me, it's a mechanical issue with the buses, so.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
had that discussion, but yes, and there should be no reason why a bus route is going out 2 hours late.
Because
Yeah.
my thought is that a bus could do an entire route, drop kids off, and then go back out and get them and still be within an hour.
Especially because most parents, knowing it's gonna be an hour wait, are taking their kids to school.
They're just driving,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're already driving their
Yeah.
kids.
And then I just think about the kids that like are routinely missing school because their bus is late, like that's crazy. Any other questions for Butler that anyone would like to think of, or?
Just, I wanted to ask if the correspondence that we received through the
Oh,
email,
yeah.
if that had been addressed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and then I guess I have another question for Butler is how well do they inspect, like, so drivers can park their buses either here on campus or at their home, right?
Correct.
And so how often does Butler inspect the site where the bus is parked? Like, I know they have to make sure the bus can turn around, but like in the snow, with snowbanks and all that, like, is that still the case? in August when they might check versus now, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
And if on some mornings they have to, or some nights they have to say, you have to park your bus here so we can warm them overnight or plug them all in, then that, you know, I don't know, but, all right. Anything else for Butler? Cool. All right, well, then we'll get started with that and
Sure.
see what happens.
So they'll probably be able to come back sometime in March.
Okay.
We'll have
It's
them
not
come
driving
in.
buses. All right, is Zach in the waiting room there? All right, so next on our agenda, we have the New Hampshire School Funding Fairness Project update, and Zach Sheehan is here from the New Hampshire School Funding Fairness Project to kind of give the overview of what their forum is going to be in 2 weeks and how we can help promote that. So go ahead. Hi, Zach, how you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me all right?
Sounds good.
Great. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you so much to Tim and Amanda for helping make this happen. I have been listening in, and I appreciate that you all have a lot going on, a lot to get through tonight and every day. And so I just want to say, thank you for giving me a few minutes here on the agenda. So just a real quick overview, and then be happy to answer any questions. As Tim mentioned, my name is Zach Sheehan. I work for the New Hampshire School Funding Fairness Project as their outreach and engagement manager. And we are in the midst of what we're calling our Get on the Bus tour, which is, I guess, timely considering your conversation around buses. We are hosting a number of presentations around the state. The goal is to hit 20 to 25 communities throughout the first half of this year. And really what we're doing is giving our education funding and property tax presentation. I understand that John Tobin, who's the chair of our board, currently has been up in the Mascoma Valley region before, giving this presentation in the past. I think the last time was about 2 or 2.5 years ago. We've been to a number of communities before we had staff on board. What's different about this particular kind of tour and the presentations we're doing now, it's similar information. We've updated a lot of the data. New data comes out from the DOE, so we want to make sure we have the most updated data. But what's the biggest difference is the context that it's in. So as an organization, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, but we've shifted to become a bit more of an advocacy-oriented organization. And what I mean by that is we are trying to help frame the conversation around education funding in the terms of what it will take to get some true statewide changes. And we're grounding that in the legislative process at the State House through the state budget process, which will start up again next January. So we're doing a bunch of these presentations around the state, speaking to anyone who wants to show up, especially virtually. It's a little easier to get a bigger crowd, but specifically parents, teachers, local elected officials. Make sure to invite everyone from the area, school administrators, and really it's to kind of help educate anyone who doesn't, kind of know how schools are funded and the role that property taxes play. And then also help connect more of those dots for some folks that might have a little bit of understanding, but really help them ground that understanding in. So when we talk about change, what does that mean? What it doesn't mean is, go to your local school board and ask them to fix the funding issue. Because as you probably know better than I do, that's not where that comes from. It comes from the state's failure to provide adequate funding per student. And so we really kind of want to help ground the conversation in, state level representatives, state level senators are the ones that are going to be making these decisions and making sure folks know kind of how they can engage with them. And so in terms of this presentation specifically, we've got that scheduled for Wednesday, February 23rd at 6 p.m. And I'll follow up tomorrow with an email to all of you with the information. I created a Zoom link. We have it on our website, so you can have that. And anything you're able to do in terms of promoting it, a lot of times local Facebook pages, any email lists you have, if you're able to send it out through the superintendent's office, or kind of different districts we worked with have had different communication methods that they're able and comfortable to use to blast this around. And just one last thing, that I'd be happy to answer any questions. This Canaan will be the fourth one we've done. We've been in Newport, Nashua, and Franklin, and then we're going to Canaan, Littleton, Canaan, Mascoma Valley region, Littleton, and we just scheduled Allenstown as well. And so we're kind of marching around, bouncing around the state, all virtual right now, hoping to move to in-person a little later in the spring when it's safe and appropriate to do so. So I hope that wasn't too quick. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm happy to answer any questions about the logistics, the motivations of the organization, anything that you might be wondering.
Any questions for Zach?
So it's virtual.
Yes.
It's going to be, what we would be doing is sending out the information as far as the time when and getting the link to people, is that, or how would that work?
Yeah, so I've created a Zoom link, and then I can send you kind of a blurb that we've been using, kind of some standard language about who we are as an organization and what the presentation is. And then it has a Zoom registration link right in there, date and time, and then we'll send follow-up emails and reminders to folks for anyone who RSVPs.
Good, Danielle?
And thanks, Zach, for joining us tonight. One of the stakeholder groups that we have tried to encourage to attend these sort of sessions in the past have been local select boards. Is that something that your organization will send out the invitation to the select boards or the towns directly, or is that something that we need to think about doing from the district or individual level?
Both and. So I personally am inviting all of the elected officials anywhere we go, and that includes select boards, city councils if appropriate, school boards, and then any state reps and state senators that fall in those areas, inviting everyone and making sure they get direct communication from me. That being said, it always, I think helps if you know any of them individually to encourage them to come as well. But for example, in Franklin, we had almost the entire city council show up because the mayor's office blasted it around. So I will invite them, but if you're able to as well, then that always helps.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Is that? Are you going to do a press release with this, or is that something that needs to be done? Like, I'm just thinking just to the Valley News, because in our region, that's a pretty important news source, and you would get basically the whole region in that one fell swoop.
Yeah, good question. So we are doing press releases, kind of similar language, since we're trying to do 25 of these, but to the local publications, which to your point, the Valley News, and we're happy to have that come out from just from us. Some superintendents or school boards in other districts have wanted to sign on and kind of have it be a joint release or come mostly from their office. So I guess that would be a question for you all if you're interested and or comfortable doing that. I can help provide some language, and it can either be a joint press release or it can just be from you announcing it and providing the information. So I'm happy to work with you on that front because it would, it gains more traction if it comes directly from you, since you're, it's into your community.
What do y'all think?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think we can do, because we have Guilfoyle still, right? So we can do something with Guilfoyle because we have an agency that'll do press releases.
Okay.
So if we can get your
give us the goods, the deets, and we'll blast it.
Okay, great. So should I send Tim and Amanda kind of we have some language you can use, and then you can tailor it as you wish and send it out?
Does that work?
So Zach, probably what I'll do is have the PR representative that we work with typically, could you go hit that, Rob? Will probably contact you. If you send me some information, I'll send him, and I would allow him to contact you directly to answer any other questions that he may have. How does that sound?
That's perfect. And that's what I've done with some other places as well. So that sounds great. I'll send you a follow-up email, and then you can forward that along to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll gain a lot of traction with the Valley News if it's centered around us as a district, bringing this conversation to everybody. If you see select board members, invite them, because it's really important that the towns and the communities know how it's structured.
While we still have Zach
I was gonna say anything else
on here, I just would like some direction from the board on how and how you would like it promoted, to whom you would like it promoted, etc. So I'm hearing a press release. We'll do that. What else would you like?
The district Facebook page.
Yep.
Zach, do you have some pretty flyer or publication or whatever I want to call it in virtual land that you would?
Yeah, we have just like a basic social media graphic we've been using and just updating with the town specific location, so I can send that to you too.
Okay, so that graphic that we could put on the Facebook page and anywhere else?
The website news section.
For sure, I would put the press release on the website news section maybe.
Yeah.
And on the district calendar, can we do that?
Sure.
Where else should we, I don't want to send it on school messenger necessarily, but is there a way we can get it out that way in that type of, how do you feel about like direct to parents? I mean, is that something we can do, or is that kind of?
Zach, is that something that is typically done by other districts?
So that's been varied. Franklin, they just blasted it out directly to parents and all their staff. Nashua did not, and I think Newport did. So that was just kind of an office by office, school by school board comfort level.
Okay, so whatever you all would like to do.
What do you think?
Sure.
I mean, if it's short and sweet, and probably, I mean, it's gonna be I would send it out after vacation, because we have vacation next week, Zach, so.
Okay.
That does make it so that there's some limited, for as far as contacting kids, I mean, parents and stuff through that. But I think if something short and sweet, just saying, hey, we just want to make everyone aware that this is going on, it's virtual, you can log in from home and watch and learn something. I mean, not too far from whatever the press release is.
Sure. But I think making sure the towns have it, for the Canaan newsletter and the Enfield one goes out at the beginning of the month, so we won't be able to hit that one, but
Okay.
I don't know if the other Orange, Grafton, Dorchester, I think there are maybe Facebook groups or listservs or something like that, but
Not for Orange.
not for Orange.
I heard last night that they don't have a website anymore, it's so fun.
It's all gone.
Well, it was privately owned, and the couple that was doing it has decided they got better things to do.
All right then.
Interesting.
All right, cool. Anything else for Zach while we still have him here? All right, and as you may remember, we had talked about doing like a budget exercise, but you guys are shifting gears and you might do that in the summer, right?
Yes, the short answer on that is we're going through some internal transition right now. And so we have like 7 districts that we're working through that budget exercise with right now. And that is maxing out our capacity. And so we're pausing that until the summer when we can reevaluate.
All right.
Great news.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think that's fine. And Zach, you did say that it will require sign up online first to get the actual link, or no?
Yes, so it's a Zoom registration, so people do need to go in and register that way.
Okay, perfect. Because we should put it on the board, by the.
Oh, yeah.
On the sign?
Yeah.
Link to our website, because it'll be through our website.
Yeah.
So, or something like that, right? Yep. Cool. All right, well, thank you so much, Zach.
Yeah, thank you all very much for having me here and for all the help in promoting this. And I will make sure that I'll send Amanda some follow-up, but I'll make sure to also send all of you an email so you have my email and cell. And any questions you get, please feel free to reach out.
All right, thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
All right. Cool. All right, up next, new business. We have a donation of $42,000 from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the EVS PreK play space, as well as a donation of $10,000 from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the Title I math morning. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion that we approve, can we combine and just approve both of the donation of $42,000 from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the EVS PreK play space, as well as the $10,000 donation for the Title I math morning.
One second.
Second. All right. Any further discussion? Many thanks to the Jack and Boyer Byrne Foundation, as always.
Yes.
I admire their match funding, and hats off to EVS for matching all that funding. That's not an easy task, so
Yeah.
very, very cool.
They worked hard.
They did work hard for that, so it'll be very exciting when that breaks ground, so. All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions. All right. Up next, we have our 2022-2023 calendar for approval. Did you make any changes from the draft from last time?
No, so this is what we had talked about with the certain adjustments to adding in the early dismissal times, the 2 extras. I did want to point out to the board that on the 19th, I believe is now a federal holiday of June. Let me put a month in there.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yeah.
So June 19th would be a federal holiday, so if we did in fact have a snow day on that day, we would just, I would count that as a federal holiday, and then we would move the next snow day to the 20th.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
And did we have any issues or with moving those teacher workday or early dismissals?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Nope.
So the biggest difference is the February vacation moving back a week. I think
Yes.
that'll be the biggest one for families to note. So if you're booking your vacation now for next year, be aware.
Yeah.
But it'll be synced up with Hartford, and it'll be synced up with a lot of other schools in the state, so that'll be nice. All right.
I mean, there is also one potential, the one thing that is troubling to me in the calendar is that we typically have always put graduation in, right? We've always noted a date of graduation, and it's that Friday.
Yeah.
The way it falls right now, there are certain requirements where the seniors cannot graduate X amount of days, which is 5, before school is over. So this only gives me 1 snow day if we put graduation there.
Yeah.
I don't love putting graduation on the 16th, just in case.
Yeah.
But there may be a time where I have to move that graduation date. I don't know if it's better to move it now to the 16th, just in case. I'm a little bit troubled by it, I'm not gonna lie.
It's always surprised me in this district that graduation's before the end of school. And maybe
Yeah.
that's just a New Hampshire thing, I don't know. But
A lot of schools, I've done some research on it too, do not note graduation in their calendar.
Yeah.
We have just typically always done that.
I would be okay taking it out if it makes you feel more
I mean, I
comfortable.
am pretty concerned, I don't want people to book tickets and to be prepared to come on the 9th.
Yeah,
And then I have to say,
Yeah.
just by the way, folks, you can't graduate on the 9th, you can't graduate more than
Yeah.
5 days. Seniors can't be out of
Yeah.
school more than 5 days before the end of school.
Would it be a possibility to have a senior only's half day on a Saturday beforehand so they could still get graduation in on that date?
I'd have to do some real negotiating with the teachers union.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I guess graduation doesn't have to be on a Friday,
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
what if you put it on the 14th?
right? It doesn't have to be on a Friday.
And honestly, I bet you there's gonna be a lot of them on Fridays.
Yeah.
And that usually ends up being competition for families and all sorts of other stuff.
It does.
IRS is slated for probably, what, the 15th?
Probably.
8th grades?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not obligated to have it on the calendar or.
I am not obligated to have it on the calendar, and some school districts do and some do not. Like Lebanon does not mark a day for, don't quote me on
Yeah.
specific districts.
Right, right.
Because this was a last year, I believe I looked, and we have always just put it on. But I am betting that we'll have more than
I see why
one.
you're nervous, and I don't
Yeah.
blame you. So
See-
maybe you're better off just leaving it off and adding it. Maybe we could, when you're past the snow days,
Right.
is put it on the calendar.
Yeah,
The only thing is, we will have to have a working graduation date, even if it's not made public because of
Right.
I'll be planning things.
Right.
As someone who will be the parent of another senior next
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So I hate to ask, but I'm really not feeling good about it. Like, I was
Yeah.
feeling okay. But I think I'd like to go back and do a little more thought on what this looks like. I apologize. I am
It's okay.
kind of struggling with this
No,
today, but I don't
it's-
want to make the wrong kind of decision. I don't know if maybe we put another day, right? Like if I just push it another day, right? And that would give us till the 16th. I could mark the 16th and then I could have a week's worth of snow days,
Essentially,
right?
yeah.
Or the 12th, there's, something that is on, that's kind of not the norm, because sometimes it's easier to not do it on a Friday or Saturday.
If we scheduled it for a Wednesday, that would be, okay, let me think, let me take this back, sorry, folks. I
Well,
know you're supposed to, you want it,
Tabled.
you want to approve it, but
You know,
I'd like to
it's-
pull it back.
it's fine, I think, if you don't put it on the calendar part with a G, but you can put it in a note saying like,
Right.
very
Yeah.
tentative date,
Yeah.
June 14th.
Yeah.
Subject to change, I know it says depending on the number of snow days, but make it very clear, like,
Right.
very clear.
That's a good point, note it,
Yeah,
yeah.
Just so like. so
it
you
does
have-
say tentative.
It does say, yeah, just make it very, very, very clear.
So
But I-
it might be okay, you might get this calendar back, but it just, I know sort of when it's on there, it's kind of, people
yeah.
consider
The
it
grad-
as the date
the
of graduation. It's the grade.
Right,
Um,
especially if it's on the calendar part, then they just say, well, it says that.
It says G there, and I understand that, and people do want to make plans, I understand
get
that.
it. I wanna make plans.
We all want to make plans.
We all wanna make,
It's a nice ceremony for our kids,
it
so.
really is.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'd like to just go work that
All
a
right,
little
we'll
bit
table
more, and
that
see if I
for
can find
next,
a,
put that off till next time, so that's fine.
it's not where I want to be on that, but
That's okey dokey.
That's okay.
All right, so just got some policy. I'll entertain, so I'm just gonna read these off. And I'll entertain a motion. We have policy EBCA, crisis prevention and emergency response plans. These are all for first reading. Policy ECAF, audio and video surveillance on school buses. Policy EEA, student transportation services, first reading. Policy EEAA, video and audio surveillance on school property. Policy EEAB, establishment of school bus routes. JICC, student conduct on school buses. JICCR, school bus conduct rules. EEAG, use of private vehicles to transport students. And EEAE, school bus safety program. I'll entertain a motion on any of those.
I'll make a motion for approval of policies that you just read. For first reading.
All right,
And I'll second that.
fair enough. All right, discussion, we'll just, anything on the first one?
Were there
Yeah.
anything for these that we need, that were major differences or that came up in?
So you're looking at legal updates
Okay.
on all of these policies except for JICC and JICCR. So that's student conduct on school buses and school bus conduct rules. So those two policies are not policies that we have previously had. However, they are embedded in some of the other policies.
Okay.
And in looking at them, I think it would be helpful to both the administration here and Butler's bus and the drivers if they knew what some of the board policy or expectations were around student behavior on the bus.
Sure.
So I do think it was time for those to happen. I will ask that you look at JICCR. Oh, and I do have to go back to another one too. JICCR, there are a couple of changes that I would like to make on page 2. So under section B, in the bold, you'll see that there's a list of people that could, discipline a student on a bus. I would like to remove the transportation coordinator because we do not have that position.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be confused with the contracted service of Butler's bus.
Right, yeah.
So I would like that to be removed, so I will do that. And then if you look at the second or the last section there, you'll see a sentence that says the following will generally apply to violations of expectations 2 through 16. And I was struggling with this, and
Yeah.
some of this is too harsh. So I think there's an error in the school board's policy, right? I think Hope is with me. I think it's supposed to say
No.
with expectations 17 through 22.
Yes, you're right.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm like, I can't kick a kid off the
It made no
bus.
sense.
It made no
Yeah,
sense to
no.
me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I sat with Martha today and I said, Martha, were we supposed to pick one or the other? And I'm not kicking a
I did the
kid.
same thing, it was like,
I'm like, I'm not kicking a kid off the bus for 5 days for having, they're not in an orderly line. Like, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Oh,
So,
boy.
but yes, I do think you should be off the bus if you're fighting or wrestling or, you know, those
Is there
type
an
of things.
unauthorized rider?
Or if you're hanging onto the bumper and getting, taking a ride down the road, then
Well,
yes.
All those kids with skateboards doing that.
I have a couple other little things.
Sure, Hope, what do you have?
It's same policy.
Okay,
I'm picking on this one.
sure.
Yeah, so number 20, if you go to second page, 21, and this is just a tiny little thing, but they say pupil all of a sudden instead of students.
Oh, yep, students.
Yeah.
And then this, on the first page, under A, number 3, I just wondered if it says students shall wait in an orderly line and avoid horseplay. Now, I know what horseplay is.
We don't have a definition section.
I was just not thinking.
You're right.
That's kind of an old word.
Roughhousing? I don't know, is that any better?
That's good, I think that's better.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
happy to get rid of
roughhouse.
horseplay.
You know what, does anybody know what horseplay is anymore?
Hijinks.
Yes. Shenanigans.
Unnecessary
If we could put shenanigans
Shenanigans.
in a policy, that would be like,
Oh,
Shenanigans it is.
That's better than horseplay, I think.
No, they'll just engage in shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
It would
Is
be a
in.
great trivia question. Where in the policy?
Jesus.
Right? We will all remember
Oh.
JICCR.
between that and taking out the reference to pagers in any
Oh, yeah.
policy that I see,
In MySpace.
it's like,
pages.
it makes a decade on the board.
That was bad.
Horseplay is really pushing it.
No, you're right. I think maybe shall wait in an orderly fashion. Like, and,
Oh.
you know, something like that.
I
No
like it.
shenanigans?
Just keep it to the word.
I tried.
And avoid
Right.
fun, you know?
Avoid fun.
Because I mean, I
No fun is to be had on any bus or in any line for
yeah,
a
no
bus.
fun. No fun. All right, anything else on that policy while we have it up?
Nothing else on that one, Tim?
Okay.
If we could, for the subheads,
Yeah.
just take away the period, again, the
Yeah.
consistency.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And what was another one that you needed to go back to?
I do need to let you all know that policy EEAB that
Oh,
you
yeah.
have here, the establishment of school bus routes. We currently have a policy EEAB. However, it is called limited closed roads. And it's actually
Mhm.
a very valuable policy here.
Yeah,
Because it would allow me to still hold school, but say that buses wouldn't have to go on certain roads
Right,
and those
yeah.
kids could be excused from school.
Mhm.
So I'd like to keep the
Mhm.
old EEAB, but it needs to be recoded.
okay.
And you all have two choices. You could call it EEAC or EEAD, and I will let you all choose what you'd like to recode this as.
Now, wait a minute, which one's the old one?
EEAB.
Now, the
No,
limited
there's
closed
two
roads, the
roads.
short
Limited
one,
closed road.
the short one,
Okay.
limited closed
This
roads.
is the one that's gonna become.
Recode it, we need to recode this.
Okay, and we're gonna rescind this?
No, we're gonna keep that. That's gonna be
Okay.
the new EEAB, and we're gonna recode limited closed roads to either EEAC or EEAD, whatever you would like it to be.
See,
C,
C.
for closed roads.
There you go.
There you
Oh,
go.
great.
yeah,
And for annoying people like me that like to see them in order, like,
Yes.
if there's no EEAC, then
Why
why?
is there
Why
a
is there
D?
why would there be a D?
All right, well, that fits in with all the other school bus routes, school bus safety. That makes sense to be right there. Because I'm
Absolutely.
looking at the other ones like EEAE, G,
Yeah.
et cetera, so, cool. All right, any other comments? So like you said, a lot of these are just legal updates based on legislative changes in the law.
And I don't want to disappoint anyone, but we lumped a whole bunch of them together, so we only have 2 policies that will be for first reading at the next meeting.
All
And
right,
that will clean us up for the legal updates
good,
Nice.
good.
until the new one comes out.
I had a consistency issue on EEAG.
Okay, use of private vehicles to transport students.
So it's the second sentence, first paragraph. The board specifically forbids any employee to transport students except the teacher's own children for school purposes. So just make it employees.
Employees,
Yeah,
absolutely.
For school purposes, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And I think that was it.
Yep, that's a good catch.
And then, yeah, no, that was it. Yep.
I had a question, I did read it, I'm trying to find the paragraph, that it stated that the superintendent would approve the bus routes for the year. So it doesn't mention that the board's gonna do it.
Oh, the board can certainly do it. Let's have
No,
that. Where's that?
I was passing it off to you.
Well-
Yeah, I'm all about that. Kathleen, thanks for bringing that up.
So is that an EEAB?
I'm trying to find
It is,
it.
I think it is EA.
So the EEAB starts off with the transportation coordinator, so maybe that should be somebody, another title instead.
Oh, because we don't have a
We
transportation.
don't have
plan.
one.
Right.
So the superintendent or their designee,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just start with the
Yeah.
Mascoma Valley.
yeah.
Oh, okay, get rid of the transportation coordinator.
Right.
part. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah.
Anything else in here that says transportation coordinator should come out as well.
Yeah. Unless I designate that to be Rob, that one might just say that's
Put that on your placard there.
I have one question on EEAE.
Okay.
EEAE.
That's the
Yep.
last one, school bus safety program. The second, number 2.
Mhm.
And this may not need to go into the policy, to me, it seemed vague, but all vehicles used to transport children will be inspected on a regular schedule to see that they meet applicable safety regulations. It doesn't say by whom, feedback to district, it's pretty vague. I mean, I don't know how it happens now, but does it need to be tighter? I guess that's my question. Or is that just there and we know what happens, so.
It does. We send the cars in for regular maintenance, and that's typically taken care of by the facilities director.
Okay, so we have that
Mhm.
regular schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would also include like your state inspections.
And it does include the state inspection also.
Okay. So it doesn't need to be tighter than what that says.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
If there's a problem, Rob will make note of it, like he'll keep his eye on it, and if we need to tighten it up, we'll tighten it up.
This one also has transportation coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
there
just
it
needs
is.
to be cleaned out.
Yeah.
Have we already updated policy JICK?
Which one is
Only
that?
because it's listed in ECAF.
JICK, I believe, came last time, but it is pretty updated.
Okay, the title being pupil safety,
No.
just for consistency if we're changing it,
Yeah.
or if we changed it the last time.
So on policy EEAB, under B, number 4 is where it says in August superintendent approves final route and bus and stop
Oh, there you go.
schedule.
Oh, yeah, change that one to say school board.
Yeah.
Say it again, Kathleen, where are you?
EEAB.
Yep,
B.
Yep.
And then 4.
oh, the superintendent, yep, the board. Got it.
Okay. Anything else?
Superintendent's gonna be awfully busy.
I know.
I don't really do anything else,
Good thing you got
so.
those
The more you
designees.
read about it, the superintendent has to do an awful
right.
lot here about.
I like it when it
appeals
says
and changes. and-
Or designate.
Yeah.
That's an important word.
And I think especially on some of these newer ones, I think just doing a scrub for that transportation coordinator
Yeah,
language,
Yeah.
and the,
those might all get
Periods.
changed to business administrator, and I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
you know, you'll get this one, like B1, it can be, you know, you obtain the student enrollment list, and then you just say, hey, building principals, this is what
Yep.
they had last year. Yeah, whatever you want. So we'll come back, we'll see that next time. Whoever you want to designate.
Perfect.
Cool. Anything else? All right. So we have that motion on the floor for first reading for policy EBCA, ECAF, EEAE, EEA, EEAA, EEAB, JICC, JICCR, and EEAG. All right. All those in favor of the first reading motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? All righty. Agenda items for the next meeting. We'll have some committee reports, quarterly reports, March professional development newsletter, we'll have policy, of course, we'll have a calendar.
and that will be our last business meeting before
Reorg.
the reorg. Yeah.
Right.
Had we decided, did we put on our calendar to have a reorg only meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I just
Yes.
wanted to make sure, because we have talked about it for a couple of years.
And I think we decided to do it on the Tuesday after the
yeah.
election. So a week after the election, but a week before the meeting that we normally, because the election's on the
Yes.
second Tuesday,
Correct,
so we'll meet on the third Tuesday and then jump
and then-
back into our regular.
Right,
yeah.
Cool.
and that was a very short, brief
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah, just to
for
organize, and
Organize.
then that way we can just
Yeah.
be in place. Then we don't have to do it on that first meeting,
Yeah.
so. Cool. All right, anything else for the next meeting? Anyone think of? If you have anything, just let Cookie know. Public comment.
Just one, I'm gonna piggyback on Tim's comment. Why is it that seniors graduate a week before school's over? I mean, at this point, if you look at the calendar, that means the seniors will be going to school about 163 full days that year. Because there is early release, there's all of this. I mean, I'm like Tim, I'm sorry, I graduated the last day of school.
That's right.
Everybody left the same day.
Yeah.
I just don't know why, and I thought maybe this is a Upper Valley thing, but I don't know, I just question it.
Basically, the seniors wouldn't have classes because they don't have exams, right?
And that blows my
I mean-
mind too.
Exams are,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like they don't have
They-
like a midterm or final exam period at the end of
No.
a semester.
They don't, which is, that blows my mind. Like, some classes might, like,
Right.
Some classes
like a
might.
math class will have a midterm exam.
Right.
So it's usually the underclassmen are in exams while the seniors don't have.
No.
Not even
Then they-
exams,
No,
they're
there's
just
not a
regular.
formal exam
They're
period.
graduated before those kids have the exams.
yes.
Yeah,
I think that the, part of that tradition, and this was started before we moved here, so I don't really know, but my guess is that for some seniors in AP classes, those AP exams happen at, in mid to late May. And so for a lot of them,
They're done.
they're done with some of, with that academic coursework.
Right.
But it definitely is not all of the senior class.
Yeah.
And, you have a lot of students that go to the Hartford program and they're taking classes until that time. So, well, I don't know how that started, but.
Yeah. Yeah, we had blue books and everything, we had
Yeah.
exam schedules,
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
separate for like a whole week straight.
Yeah.
Did the EIC look at that issue?
We certainly
I mean,
could,
That would be a great,
that'd be a great thing for this
Right.
one.
that would be a good topic.
I have something else on
Yeah.
EIC, I'll talk to you after, but yeah. Cool. All right, so we have,
No legislative update, Tim?
okay, I'll give you a legislative update. You may have seen this in the paper, but there's a bill out there right now it's actually from the representative of Patrick's district, seeking to break up every single cooperative school district in the state. And mandating that every town have their own school district,
Right.
that they can individually renegotiate where they want to go. Do we want, yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
And
for us.
that, with the idea that individual town-based school districts would determine their tuition
Right,
patterns and
Right.
all of that stuff.
right. You know, in my opinion, I think it's that, you know, that was settled 50 years ago when they made this district, you know? There was a Canaan school board, there was an Everett school board, they said, we want to make this district, so.
Well, people have often said that we could take 4 of the towns and change the name to the Mascoma district, the Mascoma town.
Yeah, take all the towns, put them together in one town.
Yeah.
That would, you know, there'd be some real benefits to that.
Well, that also takes away local control, I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of, you know,
Well, like they do down south, you know, you'd have the Enfield Parish.
Yeah.
Haven Parish,
Yeah.
like that.
so
Yeah.
what's the impetuous?
Well, what's the what?
What's the reason for?
They don't like public schools. Like, I know the representative that put this forward, and all their bills are very much to break up public schools and stuff. That's just something to chew on, I think, and we can certainly put a letter together by our next meeting to send to our reps, to send to other reps. Perhaps if that's something the board would like to entertain at the next meeting. But you know, there's that, and then there was also one that the School Board Association noticed about, told us about. It was just in your email maybe a couple days ago. It was another bill that had to do, that would basically dictate how we run our meetings.
Yeah.
It would say
Oh,
that we would
yeah.
have to have an hour of public comment, and people could talk about whatever they wanted. It wouldn't have to be on our agenda. It would have a minimum of X number of minutes. We would have to let them say whatever they wanted. Like, obviously, you see how where that's going, so.
Well, also in this case, a town could walk away from a $25 million bond.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I don't know if they can completely walk away from it. I heard I think they're still on the hook.
Well, no, he was writing it as, no,
Yeah,
they could walk away.
oh, yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
Because they're going
craziness.
to a different district now.
Crazy.
yeah.
It just
Oh, so
gets
they don't,
so
yeah.
tied up in the courts.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would
Oh,
be
yeah.
total chaos.
It would be.
Yeah.
But that being said, I would be happy to craft something and see what people think about sending off to our reps and really finding out what's going on, so.
I also wonder if we
Status
should
quo.
invite our reps,
That's a good idea.
the New Hampshire school funding, the,
Well, yeah, he said
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going to, but we should specifically invite them
you think
ourselves,
we should
yeah.
do it as a group or just individually?
We could do it as a group.
Yeah.
We could, yeah. All right,
Word.
we can do that. Because Zach's gonna invite them, and then we could also, like, a week later, invite them, so. All right. Okay, personnel, we have resignations and nominations here, as presented. Any notes on that?
Note renewals for spring coaching positions
Okay,
and some resignations, Danielle.
So I think that there is a typo under resignations with Mr. Soa. I believe he was the IRS baseball coach.
You're correct.
yeah,
Because we already accepted a resignation from the
Yes,
varsity
we did,
baseball
yes.
coach at the high school.
No. Yep. He was the boys' A team.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got our softball, varsity softball, JV softball, boys and girls track and field, assistant track for IRS, head track for IRS, softball for IRS. So what are the so just have what, varsity baseball,
Varsity baseball, JV baseball,
IRS baseball?
IRS baseball.
Yep.
Hey. All right, Brewster, you and me. Okay. Anything on that? Any comments beyond that?
Nope.
All righty.
IRS softball, looks like they don't have anyone on here yet.
Yep.
Which one?
IRS softball.
Oh, no, Julia Cole.
Oh, okay,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go.
Cool. All right. So I'll entertain a motion from those.
Make a motion that we accept the nominations and resignations as presented.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And abstentions. All right. And we have non-public?
We do for the purposes of hiring and reputation.
All right. I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to go into non-public?
Okay. And you second?
Yes.
Kathleen second. All right. Danielle Thompson? Kathleen Stacy?
Yes.
Folks right now?
Yes.
Ken Fry? Tim Josephson, yes. We are in non-public. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good night, Dan.
Drive carefully, they say the temperature's dropping.
Yeah.
Got a ways to
Yeah.
go.
A lot of black ice.
It was easy coming off the mountain, I was going sideways.